Yeah.
Forget all that. There's a big hearing coming up tomorrow in Rochester, New York,
Hmm.
in the case v. Melendez v. Dewsbury. Who's the
No,
defendant?
versus
Heberger?
Shauli. Is his
Oh,
real name
Shauli.
Shauli? Yeah, Shauli Igor or Igor. And what's his real name? Carl Heberger?
Yeah.
Yes, from WATP. Well, do you want to talk about that first then?
Well, yeah.
Because,
Well, first we'll introduce the parties. John Melendez, obviously
yeah.
famous from the Howard Stern show, and he was the announcer on the Jay Leno show, and he wrote for 15 years there. He's suing
Mhm.
Shauli Egar. Now, Shauli came from Israel. They ran away instead of actually fighting because in Israel you're mandated to join the military, and Shauli's parents didn't want him to do that. So they ran from their obligations. They took all the benefits of having everyone else's kids be in the military, but then they fled over here. So in order to make himself seem less Jewish, he lost the A in Shauli. So it's just Shuli now, because Shuli doesn't give anything away. Now, I
Well,
will say
it
the
sounds Chinese, actually. I was like, what
it
kind of
does.
name is this? Is this some Chinese person? Yeah, when I first heard that name. But yeah, getting
Oh,
back to Shuli, though, so his parents sacrificed to take them to the United States when he was really little. But he did come on one of my live stream shows, so he already said this that he dropped out of high school and he was what was he doing? Pushing wheelchairs at the airport and working as a clerk for a liquor store.
yeah, you got both of
Yeah.
those right. Those are probably the best jobs that he's going to put on his resume once they eliminate John Air Melendez from their life. So tomorrow they're going up to Rochester. John's suing them for using their videos and other things, his likeness and image. And if
Mhm.
they win, then potentially John leaves and then he'll have to dust off the old resume.
Hmm. Okay. And the other defendant is who are these podcasts? Carl Heberger. That's his channel, isn't it? I mean, it seems like he has a bunch of other people.
Carl is a dork from Rochester. He's a nice guy, but
Oh,
he's a dork.
I'm a dork. That's so rude. That's dismissive.
Yeah, you're right. Dorks are generally a little bit smarter.
He's a
How would you
YouTuber.
phrase him?
He's a
No, he's
YouTuber who's very
no, he's not.
dedicated to his art. Yeah.
Well, that's true. He doesn't have any kids. He was born deformed with club feet. That's why I never make fun of him with regard to who he is. And it's not easy. He blames his mom for drinking and I think doing drugs when she was pregnant.
Really?
And yeah, he had club feet. And you know that one of my favorite people in the world also had club feet. So I do have a soft spot in my heart for Carl Heberger. Right now, most of his videos that make fun of John or just review John's work are the ones that make a little bit of money. And he's being sued along with Shauli Egar.
Mhm.
Tomorrow is the big hearing in Rochester. The
I
judge
know.
just wants them to appear. And I agree with the judge, whose name is Vincent. We call him Vince the judge, in
Uh-huh.
that they have to appear in person because if you're the judge and you're looking at this case, you have a lot of mess on one side, and then you have a measured response by Shuli's hard ass attorney who's really representing his clients aggressively and thoroughly.
Mhm.
And you could just tell from the start, right now, how this is going to be decided. Not
Mhm.
based upon reading anything, because I haven't. I never read any of John's complaints. I never read any of their junk. The one thing I did read was John's current attorney and his ability to make excuses for not doing either what the court
Yeah, that
mandates.
that was pretty funny, actually. I mean, you do feel sorry for him if it's true, but some of those things it seemed irrelevant for an attorney to mention to a judge, like, "Oh, my mom is 100 years old and she's on pureed food." So it's like, what does that have to do with you not being able to come to court? Do you have to personally feed her and make her food and stuff? It didn't sound like it, you know? Oh, and his office flooded too. And he had some sort of like eyeball problem, some sort of retinal pressure. What else happened to him? Car accident, right? He
John says every
got
time he
into a car
calls him,
accident.
right, every time he calls, he's in a car accident. Now, can we look at some of, now this we're referring to obviously the brilliant attorney Susser, who is by far the best person at making excuses I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, John claims they're real, and I have nothing to doubt that they are real. But one thing we teach, you will never give an excuse to anyone. You won't accept an excuse. No one is impressed with the size of your excuse. But for some reason, Susser's been able to get away with it so far. So what are we looking at here?
I'm trying to make it bigger here. Let's see.
That's what she said.
Okay, I'm trying to make it bigger here. Let's see.
That's what she said.
Okay, haha. Okay, so this is a different channel called Daplin Doofus, which is actually pretty funny. Don't you think this person is very talented? And they put up the latest court notice, which shows that the judge is pretty hard-nosed. He's saying that he doesn't care everybody has to show up in person tomorrow at 11 in the morning. Failure of any party to appear may result in action being taken pursuant to this civil procedure rule.
Right, and I predicted that Vince the judge would issue this. If you look there, though, he does use a little passive language in may be dismissed as opposed to will be. Remember, because the first one was a little bit more aggressive. This is the may part. He knows that most likely, even if he dismissed the case because they failed to appear, you would be able to overturn it on appeal in New York, because generally you get at least one miss, especially when it's something that's meaningless like this. But Vince the judge is confronted with well-written documents and a lot of excuses, and apparently no response from Susser, because the court was trying to schedule this, and apparently Susser did not respond timely. So I can understand why Vince the judge is upset. I wonder if we should order him something. You know, that little rascal, he blocked the Grubhub, but then we just used other ones. But yeah, with John, you just got to let John be John. He knows what he's doing. He's entertaining, and you just let him be. So anyway, he's facing a legal battle tomorrow, and I'm excited to figure out which excuse his attorney is going to use for not appearing. Will it be aliens ate his motion? Will it be something new? Like, it's actually exciting to try and figure out what excuse his attorney is going to use.
Okay. Well, just to give people some background, can you tell us more about this whole lawsuit that he filed? Because it's not just hurt feelings, but he thinks he needs to be paid.
Somebody used John's voice in a pay-per-view production for which you had to pay $40 to hear John's voice recordings of him with a younger girl that he thought he had a chance of hooking up with. She was recording him secretly. But what Shauli and Carl did was charge $40 for us to hear the tapes of the recordings and to hear their commentary. The issue is John suing for right of publicity in New York. Generally, you cannot do that without written permission from the owner. And that's what John is doing. This is not copyright. It's technically right of publicity. It's a different type of law, and it's a state law, and it's very similar. Now, I don't know what the hell John's attorneys did. I never read his complaint. If he pled it properly, he should be successful. If he didn't, and there's all this mess going on, he's probably facing an uphill battle.
Okay. And did they made a counterclaim against him for the anti-SLAPP claim?
Right. So,
which means that he could have to pay their attorney's fees and costs.
That's true. And New York has a very vast SLAPP strategic lawsuit against public participation. Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
But either way, every state is different. Massachusetts is a little bit more confined, and in New York, potentially this could be. But if John's not careful and his attorneys are pissing the judge off, potentially the judge could do that, which more importantly is John would have to pay the attorney's fees for Shauli and Carl. Now, the little wrinkle in that is that there is a doctor in our universe, Dr. Baumrucker, right?
Steve.
Dr. Baum.
I don't even
I
know
never
his
call
real
Dr.
name. Yeah,
I never will call a
clue.
doctor by his first name. That's disrespectful. Dr.
Well,
Baumrucker.
that's what he calls himself. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would never do that because he's a real doctor, right? If he was like we have all different doctors, but he's a real doctor. He's not like Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr.
Okay.
Baumrucker. He went and asked Carl how he can help, and Carl, behind our backs, had Dr. Baumrucker set up a GoFundMe. So they raised $40,000, which is a nice sum of money, because if not, then John and Shauli would have been out that money. And they hired a very good-looking attorney who is a huge Howard Stern fan. I know of him. I never met him, but I saw him before. He would always hang around the show. They would never let him on. They would let him do like this, an ancillary show. But either way, he came from a large firm, DLA Piper, which is a huge firm, actually. It's like the number 3 firm in the
very
world.
prestigious.
So, yeah, he has a good pedigree. In fact, he went to Notre Dame Law School, and it was interesting to hear that Turtle Boy's mom went to Notre Dame Law School, but then she didn't practice. She did the most important job a woman can do, which is raise a child, and she had 7 kids, I believe.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I
Okay.
learned that yesterday. I didn't realize like he's the oldest of the 7, I believe.
Okay. Well, but getting back to stuttering John first. So what I brought up here are a couple of videos where you can hear these phone calls that caused this lawsuit to happen because John was very embarrassed when these podcasters got the phone call recordings with Kate Meany and played them. And they also charged people, was it $40 or something, to
$40 a
listen
person.
to a show? Yeah, but they're saying it was part of a show. It was part of a larger event or something. Were there 2 things? Like one?
There were 2 things. There was one
event?
live event, which I have no clue why they would focus on that if I was John's attorneys. Again, I don't know if his complaint even references that, but I know for sure
I think so.
that there was a live stream for which I had to pay $40, or someone had to pay $40 to listen to the tapes, technically the voice of John Edward Melendez, which I wanted to hear. I didn't care about Shauli and everything. I wanted to hear what was said on these calls.
Yeah, so did you pay for it?
Well, maybe. Yeah, of course I did.
Okay. Yeah, so it's actually kind of funny to listen to it. It is entertaining to me, but you do feel a little bit sorry for John because he had no clue that she was recording him. Although later, I think he did say that he knew she was taping him the second round. Isn't
Yeah,
that
so
true?
it happened once. She went public with the recordings, and then she went back to him, and she did it again. And then the second recordings, I believe, is what is that issue at the lawsuit. I don't know for certain which are which, but yeah, that's the beauty of being a man. You'll always give a girl like 12 chances if she's young and good enough.
Okay. Well, do you think Kate was legitimately interested in him
No.
at all? Or did she just humor him because she knew she was going to record him?
Yeah, the second one. Kate's the daughter of a famous comedian,
Yeah.
and he actually turned out being gay, and that really will mess a kid up if you start out straight and then you end up being gay. I've heard that a few times
Okay.
before. One
This is also a great channel if you care about this whole civil litigation case. So, stuttering John Melendez, his main claim in this lawsuit has to do with New York's right of publicity law. So it's not defamation. So different kind of civil lawsuit, but Kaylee has done a very thorough job covering this case. So feel free to check out that
I
channel.
really like her channel. You should go back on it with her. You guys should do more consistent shows together.
Well, I gave her some info, that case that I found where Judge Vince dismissed someone's case and then awarded attorney's fees against that former wrestling coach. So I told her I have no voice or time to do anything to cover that. It would have been nice, but I have to conserve my voice. So,
yeah, that spells a little bit trouble for John Edward Melendez. Vince, the judge, actually awarded attorney's fees against something that's similar. A wrestling coach that went to Carl's alma mater, SUNY Brockport. That's a great school up in New York, around Carl's area. One of the schools in the SUNY system. I'm not sure what the wrestling coach sued for, though.
Oh, I have no clue because I didn't have time to do thorough research. Yeah, but
You're worse than Susser here. Now, can we look at a little bit at Susser stand-up comedy, John Edward Melendez's attorney not only excels at making excuses, he also is a stand-up comedian, aspiring.
Oh, is there something on YouTube? Oh, look, is this him? He does have a YouTube. Everybody has a YouTube channel.
He does?
Okay. Well, yeah, this is so funny. I think I did see a little bit of his comedy.
Well, let's see.
I thought he did pretty well. So let's watch him.
Yeah. This is what you've been waiting for.
That's not him.
Our next performer.
Well, next, he's coming.
Fast forward.
The way he does it.
We're here.
I have a confession to make. I'm not the suave, sophisticated heartthrob that you see before you. I'm a mess. And the reason I'm a mess is my parents. And it started literally
Louder.
just after I was born, when they named me Bennett Susser.
Why is that funny? Why is that funny?
The first name doesn't go with the second name. There's no cadence.
Louder.
Bennett Susser.
That's not funny.
Put it louder.
This is
Think
not
of
louder.
famous people's monikers. Barack Obama, Abraham Lincoln, Osama bin Laden. Geesh, the most despicable person in our lifetime has more of a melodic rhythm to his name than I do. And because my name is so uneven on the ears,
Are you never going to put the
people
volume
usually don't
louder?
get it on the first or second.
That is very loud. How much louder do you
I
want
can't
it?
hear it.
The person screaming,
Well,
Put the
I'm
volume
sorry.
all the way up.
who may assist
Maybe you need
point?
to mute yourself.
No matter how carefully I enunciate, Bennett Susser. I get who? Huh? What?
Yeah.
It's really great when they give me back the name that they think they heard. Bernard Seltzer? Dennis Custard? No wonder I'm fat. People associate me with food and drink. Even my wife at times gets it wrong. My last name is spelled Susser, but sometimes she'll pronounce it shithead.
It's not bad.
I'll hear that from
Miss Judy?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
excuse do you think he's going to give for missing tomorrow?
What? Because he's a mess?
That's not comedy. You can't just go up there and tell us about your life.
A mess. I'm like type 2 diabetic. But I think the most believable would probably be if he has car trouble.